Hello and welcome to the Success Lab podcast with Christoph and Tim. Hello, Christoph.
Hi, Tim.
Hello. So the Success Lab podcast is a podcast where we talk about factors like business, success, but also sports, health, and everything about life satisfaction that we come across and we think is interesting. And I hope you can join us on journey to become a better version of ourselves and also add to our journey ourselves.
That's the goal, right?
Exactly. And about the journey, we went to an event 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And that's also something we're going to talk about today. So we thought we want to talk about the things we learned, the things we got from the event. And we will just talk about the biggest learning factors we got.
Yes. I think one big thing is the reason why we had our first idea of this podcast was that we didn't want to invite those big personalities into our studio and interview them, because those interviews already exist, like a Simon Sinek or Stephen Bartlett or from Modern Wisdom, Chris Willicks. Those interviews already exist, many of them. And for us, the goal was to break down those interviews, which we already watch on a daily basis, and break them down into really practical ways to include them into our lives. And actually, this one today is the most raw and the perfect version of a podcast which we thought of doing, right?
I think so, yeah. Because we're going to talk about those things that we can implement,
Yes.
that can help us to get where we want to be, right?
Yes. And we had the honor of meeting like very influential people, really big personalities from all around the world, who everybody knows, I think so, or one of them you will know for sure. And yeah, do you want to maybe give us an insight of what event we are talking about?
Exactly. Okay. So we went to the event called Founder Summit 2024. So it's a startup event. It's a startup expo.
Yeah.
And
the biggest one, right?
It's the biggest one in terms of numbers, in terms of visitors.
In Europe.
So it's a big one. A lot of people come there.
7,500 people.
About that.
Yeah.
A lot of people, so we had to wait to get in. But yeah, a lot of people, a lot of speakers, a lot of startup speakers, a lot of influencers as well, company owners, any sorts of people, also coaches and so on.
Startups too.
A lot of startups too. So yeah, everyone gets something out of there. You can talk to people. You can talk to the startup founders, to the startup owners, to coaches, whatever you are interested in. And yeah, I think we both gathered some insights. And if you don't have anything to add, we can jump right into the insights.
Yes. Maybe just a little bit of an overview too. Who were you looking most forward to, like in the beginning of the event, and who was the most surprising person where you were like, oh, I didn't know, it was the least expecting person that really took away my breath of their presentation and their keynote?
Yeah, I like that question. Honestly, there wasn't someone in particular I was looking forward to. I don't know about you, but I literally booked the thing not knowing who is going to be there. Just I'm interested in the subject. I'm interested to be at the biggest founder/startup event in Europe.
Yeah.
So I can't answer this question. But in terms of surprise, his name is Nikita Fahrenholz. So he was very, very surprisingly good. I didn't know him too much. He founded Lieferheld. It's a German startup delivery service for food. It was now he sold it to a bigger one.
Yeah.
But he's a very successful startup owner. So he was really surprisingly cool to listen to, and his insights are also, some of us will mention the insights for sure today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Really
what about you?
Yeah, I forgot his name, but Nikita was really surprising for me as well. Well, one of the main reasons why I wanted to join this event was the last act of the Founder Summit, who was Shi Heng Yi, who is a Shaolin Kung Fu monk who has started a startup career, another startup, a speaker career. And I was very interested in his values and how he's performing really. And it was really funny that, for example, my mother was talking to me 2 weeks before the event and was showing to me the monk. And she was saying, you do know this guy? He's talking very wisely about Buddhism.
Yeah.
And so my mother's perspective, and she is some years older than me, she has a completely different perspective of knowing this guy. And from my perspective, it's of course the martial arts perspective, which I'm quite interested in. And combining those two was really interesting to see that also that my mother is a fan of him. And so I really enjoyed his performance on stage. And yeah, that was Shi Heng Yi. And the most surprising person, the most surprising keynote was not only Nikita, who had who stood out with his very practical, very grounded tips and tricks.
I think I know who you're talking about.
No, Nikita?
No, the one you're gonna mention.
And the second one is Philip Plein.
Oh, okay. So
Philip Plein has a luxury brand of clothing, right? And I thought he was like this high-nosed person who is very arrogant, like in a typical fashion industry, like a fashion icon. And he was really rational, and I liked it.
Yeah.
He's aware of his success, of course, but in a very healthy way, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was surprised of him as well. I didn't know him before.
Yes.
But thinking about him being the owner of this luxury brand, I would also have expected someone else. So that was very cool. And he was very, I mean, considering his background, I think he was very based to earth.
Yes.
He is
more than expected.
More than expected. Let's put it that way. So that was good. He also gave us good ideas, I think. So yeah, I like those two. Another one, and then we can jump into the points we got here, is Jochen Schweizer. So
Jochen Schweizer. Did you get the book already?
I did. It's in my room.
Yes.
It's just 5 meters out of here. So it is, he was very cool, like, to listen to. I know you told me that you listened to his podcast before the event. I didn't.
Yes.
Then after one day, I listened to the podcast while I was running. So I was going for a run the next day. And yeah, he's such a great person.
Yes.
He has so many insights. He has so much experience, and he built something big. And he's a little bit different than, like, he's not thinking that money is everything. He's also, like, basically what he's telling and teaching is, there's more about it, and you need to figure out what it is and what you want. Right?
You hear a bit of stoicism out of his.
I would say so.
Right.
And after I read the book, I can tell you more about it, but I think that's also where it is going.
Yes.
A little bit more centered stoicism moment.
Right. And I really love the way he's speaking. And just a little bit of an insight. So Jochen Schweizer, has one of the biggest companies and corporations in leisure activities. So he founded the activity bungee jumping.
Yeah.
Isn't it right?
Yeah.
Right. And all those extreme sports that you can do for leisure and give this coupon as a gift to another person. He created his product.
Yeah.
Right. And out of this, he developed a huge infrastructure of a lot of products where you get to give the person free time, highly valuable free time.
Exactly. And
activities.
And he's basically all about adventure. But on the other side, he's also now teaching and telling about peace and calmness. So it's very interesting, right?
Quite a contradictive, right? I would say a conflict of interest, but it isn't, right? Because the high contrast makes it even more at peace.
And also, yes, but also maybe adventure can be peace, right? Like, it's maybe not
peace in adventure, right? Like it's like quietness and peace in chaos, in action.
See, like, yin and yang, right?
Oh yes.
So the line between is called Tao, right? And if you, and that's the thing, you want to walk on the line, because it's not good to have too much from this side or too much from this side.
Yes.
So you want to have chaos, but not too much chaos. But you don't want to have you don't want to have only structure, no chaos. That would also be bad. So you want to have the balance. I think that's what I've gathered from different sources, and it also fits for him, for Jochen Schweizer's philosophy, I guess.
Yeah. So that in the end he has found his perfect middle in his life. Like in the beginning of his life, he had more the action side and less of the peace. And now he's overcompensating a little bit with the peace. And I also have to say, the goal is to be really in the Tao, in the middle of the yin and yang. But I think you can also not control it that much. If you are in one extreme, the world and the universe is pulling you back to the middle again. So if you're too structured in a way, then life gives you a little more chaos, so that you get more into the middle. If you are too sad, then maybe life gives you a little bit more luck, and vice versa, even more. If you are quite high on a high horse, then life makes sure you get down to earth again.
So you're saying your life balances it out naturally?
Yes.
That you will come back to the Tao?
It forces you. So it
forces you.
It can sometimes hurt, I think.
Yeah, okay.
If you are aware of this and really want to be in the middle, then I think you can do it without any hurt, with less hurt.
Okay, I see.
With less damage. What else did you learn?
Okay, let's jump into it. I think there's a lot of points, and I wrote down a lot of things, but we don't have to cover everything. I'm just going to start with one of the most insightful things, which was the Nikita Fahrenholz talk.
Yeah. So who is he?
So I already explained, he was the founder
Yes. And now, because I'm really big fan, he's a big fan of cars.
He is. He's actually now doing the garage thing.
I love the garage thing.
So he's what is it? He's building garages for high-end car owners.
Yes.
Mainly in the US, I think in California. Not sure, but maybe not only. But
in Austria, there are not many people who can afford those cars.
I mean, I think he also talked about clients in Germany, but he is building high-end garages for cars, for rich people, basically.
Which look good. So those domes, glass domes for cars outside. Yeah, that's him.
Oh, interesting. I have to look at the pictures. Yes. Maybe we can put links in there.
So
I wrote down 4 success factors. He has actually, his talk was really cool. It was also very structured. It was very simple. I liked that about it.
Yes.
It was simple and lean, but structured, but very insightful. You don't have to be super fancy with the slides. It was literally black with white written lines.
Which is normally a no-go in presentation techniques and design, in PowerPoint design, that you have a dark background and white light color.
And then it was green as like the main.
But it worked.
It worked very well, actually.
Yes.
So the 4 things are, I'm going to read all of them at once, and then we can talk about them.
Okay.
So firstly, the most important thing is you want to have something, a product that is better 10 times as the product before. So it has to improve a lot, not a little bit.
Yes.
And he's also saying it doesn't have to be necessarily something new or crazy, just something just better by a mile. So secondly, you want to have a founder interest fit, basically. So the thing you're doing, it should fit the founders. You need the founder team has to like it, has to want it. Otherwise, they will not have the passion and the power to go through it.
And money is not enough as being a motivator, right?
So if you don't identify with the problem or idea as a founder, it's going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
Third, it is product market fit. So now we're talking about before you raise money, it has to have a good product market fit. So you need to find who's the buyer, who will buy it, and what product is it. So that it has to be a perfect fit, basically, before you go raise money.
Yes.
Because then you have traction, and that's what you need to raise money.
And the big, he put it in bold, like vocally, he put it in bold, before you get any funding.
Exactly. And that's also...
I'm sorry. This is
the fourth, it's kind of like both. The fourth thing is stay scrappy and work hard and try to delay the funding as long as possible.
Yes.
So it goes hand in hand with what we just said. We want to delay the founding as long as possible. You can do a lot without it.
Yes.
And try to do that.
Yeah. So he's a really big fan of bootstrapping, right? To just take all the money and the resources you have and just make the best out of it and not be reliant on any shareholders or stakeholders outside of your company who are maybe not in the same value bracket, don't have the same values, and are maybe doing stuff because of only their interests and not because of the interest of the company, right?
Exactly.
And this is, I have to say, also the main thing that I took out of his two things. So one thing is delaying the funding as late as possible, where I already had the tendency before I founded my company, and afterwards I was a little more open to it because I just spent a lot of time with venture capital firms. So that's why they always want to invest their money. And now I'm getting way more aware that the way I thought in the beginning of my startup career is, delay it as long as possible. This is natural. This is like freedom. You don't have to assign something to them. And the second part, which I am quite surprised he said it, but it made sense, is his opinion about coaching.
I like that a lot.
Because I am a consultant and coach, right? So I until then thought that it is necessary and it is not a shame to really take help from a person who has done the thing already and maybe has some qualities and entities that another person can benefit from. So if I teach you how to speak, then that's a good thing. Then you can get faster to the goal. And he's like, you don't need that stuff. You just need a good product. And also this marketing stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like those in the Founder Summit, there were a lot of startups on one side, and on the other side, many very sleazy salesmen and sales consultants. Yeah. And we learned a lot from them too, as well, because they have perfected the part of sales. But it's so much of money and time invested into this part of the company. And if he says, if the product is 10 times better than the one before, you don't need that stuff. You don't need the good presentation. You don't need a good pitch. It's a good product.
That's actually also very interesting. So usually, from what I've gathered in this field, startup areas, people say the most important thing is the team.
Yes.
He actually, and I think he said that, maybe I'm wrong, he disagreed. He said maybe it's the second most important thing. The most important thing, in his opinion, is the product, right?
Yes.
It has to be a perfect product / business model.
Yeah.
It has to work out. And I think both are obviously super important. It always depends what stage and when. I still think at the very, very beginning, you don't need the perfect product because it will come if you have a perfect team. And if the team, like he says, are interested in the problem, because the problem comes first, and then the team that is interested in the problem, they will develop this super good product.
Yes, and I also think it's a different kind of company he's founding, and he is a specialist of, because before that the
Lieferheld, yes.
the Lieferheld, the delivery company, and afterwards the Garage. They're both maybe a little bit different to other startups that are found, which like have a good problem, good customer product market fit, and go to funding as fast as possible, to grow it and scale it as fast as possible, and exit it as fast as possible. So it's a completely different strategy.
Yeah.
Right? So for his kind of company, I think it fits perfectly. Maybe for another kind of company, some other values and some other priorities have to be set. So all of the advice we give you and we have gotten, you have to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt. Is this the way of saying it? With a pinch of salt? I think.
I don't know. Let's say yes.
Let's say yes. That's the word. Yeah. If not, then it's a quote by me.
Yeah. Christoph Nowotny.
Quote me. Yeah.
Okay. So that was Nikita Fahrenholz.
Yeah. Cool guy.
What else? Who other persons do you want to talk about?
Well, I really like Shi Heng Yi. Did I say it already?
Yes, yes.
I'm a really big fan of Shi Heng Yi. And he was talking about the golden cage. So if you are in the golden cage as, for example, an influencer or a company owner, and you have to make a show when you're going out to the streets and you have to show a different face than you are at home or in your company, then you have done something wrong. And it's a paradox because it's a cage, but it's golden. Everybody loves gold, but it's a cage, right? So restricted, but you are envied by everybody.
Yeah.
So to really take care of having the same face and being not only forcing your authenticity, but also making space for yourself in the real world and in your company is quite important. Which also brings me, because I love authenticity, it's one of the biggest values in my opinion, having a not clear voice. And this is especially important for speakers, keynote speakers, and presenters to have a clear voice. And he is talking about the speed of voice. So if a person is talking very fast, if a person is talking, trying to put as many information as possible into their speech, and therefore they show that they're afraid of being irrelevant.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think this is quite powerful, especially for me, because I have seen myself in those situations where I want to talk fast, to put as many information as possible into the time, because I'm afraid that I'm irrelevant. And the quite opposite is the case. So Shi Heng Yi has a very, very known art of presenting, his speed of voice, his tonality, his melody. It's quite unique. And he is talking very slow, not that many informations. He has just like one or two things that he wants to give you, even though he could talk for half an hour or something like this. And therefore he is automatically relevant. I'm trying to say this.
Yeah.
Yes. Therefore he's relevant.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. So I also sensed that. So his speech was very different. So first of all, you just mentioned the way he talked. I think also his voice was deeper.
Yes.
It was slower. He used pauses for his advantage. And something else, he used music.
Yes, the mantra which
Right.
was saying so it's a choir of monks which were singing in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe that was just me seeing it, but I thought there was smoke. But maybe that was because there was smoke, right?
Yes. In the beginning, when he was going up to the stage, there was some
exactly smoke. Yeah. So he uses actually all the elements you can use.
Yeah.
And to the point of like talking and taking the time to put out what you want to say. I think that's very natural, and everyone has it. I have it too. Everyone always is afraid of being interrupted and not being listened to. I think that's totally normal. It is what it is.
Yes.
But we can all improve here. And yeah, I think it's good to talk slower and also sometimes more quiet. So I realize if you're in a big room, a lot of people, and you wanna have the attention of all of them, you have two options. You can yell as loud as you can. It could work.
Yes.
But people will maybe listen to you, but they will be like, oh, I don't want to listen, but okay, he's yelling so loud, okay, whatever. Or you're gonna have like this mystical quietness,
which creates like even more curiosity
and mystically, and then people want to listen to you, and it actually works. I mean, I'm not saying, if they don't notice you, it doesn't work, obviously.
Right. But you're just whispering, it's not working.
In some situations, this can be 10 times as effective.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting. And I think there's also one more part which made his speech so powerful, was his overall presence. So there was one thing in his personality and his way of speaking which cannot put into words. That's why I say just presence, because it was very monk style appearance, which is not fitting for everybody, right? There were a lot of rational Germans in Wiesbaden, Germany. They're like this, so they're not really reflecting with the monk way or the Buddhist way, and that's why I was a bit skeptic of how the audience will react when he's going up to the stage, especially with some cheesy thing of the mantra of the Buddhism.
Oh, yes.
But he was going up on the stage and everybody was quiet. Weren't saying a word. All their 100% of their attention was on the stage. And they listened to him, and he used their curiosity and their attention and played with it and used it wisely, I think. And afterwards, of course, he got a standing ovation. Even though there were a lot of other people, but I was very overwhelmed by his overall presence, how he did it, what he did. Yeah, even though he's not the billionaire we saw like 10 minutes before.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, his presence was there. It was presence. Why? Do you know why? What is your thought about it?
I mean, I have seen this thing also from other grandmasters in Taekwondo, and I think people who are in martial arts and in Buddhism in general, I think have some kind of clearness. They are clear and they are straightforward. They are not. Yeah, they're clear. They're clean. Some of the speakers have tried to use the word clean. So they're not. They don't have any dirt from the outer world and from the other people. They're clean in what they're saying. They are not rushed by anything, by anybody. They don't make anything up of the opinion of others. They're not persuaded by anything else.
True.
They're clean.
Yeah. Let's leave it like this. He was clean.
Yeah, he was clean. Did I say he was clean already?
He was in a moment for sure. He was in a moment for sure. He talked about the moment. We talked about it afterwards. Kind of this comparison between Shi Heng Yi. So I put it. Yeah, I say his name right.
Yes, very nice.
And Eckhart Tolle. So
yes, Eckhart Tolle is
a spiritual teacher. That's what he calls himself. And he is the author of the book Power of Now.
Right.
So he's teaching Power of Now. And Shi Heng Yi is also saying presence is important.
Yes.
But he's not putting so much emphasis on the now as much as Eckhart Tolle.
Yes.
That's a difference, I would say. He is he said goals are good, but not everything. That's what he said, kind of. But he's also using past to heal and the future for goals and the way. So he's not so much putting the emphasis on the now as Eckhart Tolle is.
Yes, it's a little more earthy perspective on the now, right? Because Eckhart Tolle is like very straightforward to
this is gone. What
this is gone. Yeah, nothing is relevant except the now, which is the Buddhist way, right?
It is,
which is the Buddhist way, and now Shi Heng Yi is putting a little more priority and more focus into the past of you can heal the past and you can set goals. It is all right, and I think maybe not for everybody, but I think for me it is a healthy compromise of the both worlds. Right?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. I think in the end, to put a break to this, I think we can learn from both schools of thought, and we can take something from it. Okay.
What did you learn? What did you learn?
Next one is Jochen Schweizer. So Jochen Schweizer. So one big thing is, I mean, he's just a very cool personality.
Yeah.
He's charismatic. You will listen to him again. He's this wise person. He talks also more slowly, a little bit more deeper than the average person, and he just makes this authoritative, but in a good way, and wise teaching voice.
Yes, because it was a panel discussion, right, on stage with another person who is quite successful, but who is selling underpants, and the other one was selling shoes.
Socks? I don't know, shoes. Yeah,
Shoes.
But both of them were young.
They were very young, and
Young,
they were maybe not that advanced in their stage as Jochen Schweizer, and Jochen Schweizer was like 3 times older than them, which was quite impressive for the young people. But Jochen Schweizer has this grandfather vibe.
Exactly.
I have to say. I just know him as an older person with his gray beard, but I would really love to get to know him when he was younger.
I would too, yeah. So that's the point about him as a person. I wrote down, first of all, he's saying he just does the things he wants to do. He follows his adventures basically, and if there are challenges, he will overcome them and he will grow from them. So that's one of his mindsets. The other one was he's not regretting anything. I like this a lot. How he basically countered someone saying, "Oh, do you regret this?" Because he was saying it was bad, but that doesn't mean that he regrets it. Because if you regret it, you're basically betraying yourself in some ways.
That's what he's saying, right? The betrayal of yourself.
Of your identity, I guess, and your Werte. What's that?
Your values.
Your values. Thank you. So the third point, basically, what I wrote down, maybe you can add some things, is he is big on values. So obviously we all have values, and we all should find our values and act accordingly.
Yes.
And he just puts this big emphasis, how important it is for all of us to know our values exactly every day, anytime, and act of them. So I think that's also something I will take with me. I mean, I know my values, but I haven't like challenged them in a while. So I will do that again and live more accordingly to them.
Yes. And I really, because we, of course, he had this thing of sending his book for free, and of course we said, we want this book, and I already read a little bit of it. It was quite interesting.
Oh, you have it too?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, I got it like 2 days ago.
Okay, perfect.
I already read like through some pages, and he's like so good in storytelling. Yeah. And we are also automatically subscribed to his email newsletter, of course. And there was a video, because it's his biggest strength, I have to say. Being on a video, having a personal contact and seeing him and hearing him is his biggest strength. So I really like this strategy. But how he created his story and how he told his story in this email newsletter, I really looked through the first 5 minutes like 20 times, because I was so interested in how it was a cool story of his bungee jumping story, but how he pronounced the words, how he's saying what at which time. It was so satisfying, and I still don't know the golden rule of why he's so engaging, and I'm analyzing him more and more. He's really interesting in a public speaking realm.
I have to watch those videos. I haven't. I'm excited to watch the videos. I'm excited to read the book. I'm excited to learn more about him, listen to podcasts. He's a cool person. I think, looking about my values, I think that's something that's a cool person.
Yeah, that's really cool. So Jochen Schweizer.
Christoph, any other persons, any other advice, any other learnings?
So, life-changing, I have to say that's it from my part.
Yeah.
I have maybe a little bit of a person which we have already mentioned, Philip Plein. The person who has found his very huge fashion label. And he has named the midlife crisis as realizing that the goals that you have made yourself for this life, it's not working out. And therefore people get into a little bit of a panic. And this is the first time I have heard about this midlife crisis thing as a definition as he has put it. And what I would also connect between Philip Plein and Pamela Reif, we have seen afterwards, both have said the same thing, which is honesty goes the longest way, which is also persuading, I'm not lying, but making everything with 100% of being sure this is what I want, this is what I will do, being honest to yourself, not only being honest in your sales call, but also being honest to yourself goes the longest way. And it's not the fastest way, but I don't know who has said it, but life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So it is okay, and it is a must that it's going slow, or it's not the goal that we are achieving, because we want sustainable, substantial growth in the long term.
I like that.
If something is going too fast, we're like, are we going the right way? Are we following the right values? So speed is a really good indicator in how successful we are, but the other way around, because other people think the faster the better. No.
Okay, so you're saying the quintessence of Philip Plein's learning is that you're true to yourself.
Yeah.
That you have goals and be obsessed with them. Did I get that right? Or?
Yes. And also, because I mentioned Pamela Reif, many startups have this big problem of scaling.
Yeah.
And sales are going through the roof because the product is 10 times better. And then people are overwhelmed, or fame, for example, because Pamela Reif is a huge influencer. So being famous, and it's overwhelming for some people. And she said, now she's not overwhelmed a bit or by the growth of their company, because it has grown substantially in a linear way. So she has put in the work and has known, okay, that's why I'm a little more famous. And that's why I can invest a little more money into it. And this is a very natural way of growing their businesses, which I'm quite surprised of for Pamela Reif, who is also a very down-to-earth person.
Also, yes.
Family person. So it's a family company, the Pamela Reif. I don't know what kind of company it is. So her father is making the bookkeeping. Her mother is sewing her dresses, and her brother is making the videos, photography.
Exactly.
It's so wholesome. And her perfectionism. But this is a must. I know that being very, very strict and very structured. She's a very structured person.
Very structured.
Very, very structured. I didn't reflect with that so much because I'm the most opposite. I'm not that structured, and she has said, I knew that I'm going to be successful because I put in the work and I put in the structure, right?
Yeah.
So quite motivating. Philip Plein and Pamela Reif, maybe not the same company strategies as I have, but Philip Plein for sure. So really cool guy.
Yeah.
Really nice guy.
Both of them were very inspirational, and I learned a lot. To Philip Plein, one more thing, he said the dreams are motivation. But if you achieve the dream, if you achieve the goal, the motivation is suddenly gone. So you have to have something bigger. So I liked to hear that from a guy like him. So kind of like in the moment, and the way is the goal, this stuff. So interesting person. And you just have to stick to your mission, kinda like vision, story, why. If you have that and then follow it, and then just stand up again, that's a good thing.
Because you have prepared so much, maybe you would have one last tip, or one learning you have taken out from the Founder Summit.
One last one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're wrapping this up already, because
I think so.
I think so too. So before I give you this one tip,
I just want to mention, guys, it's a cliffhanger.
I just want to mention there was so many cool other speakers and storytellers that were very inspirational, very cool. I learned a lot about how to speak on stage. There was one guy who gave us like a list of like ways how to have a good speech. So we're not gonna go through this now. Maybe another time. I wrote it down.
Yes.
Storytelling is a good thing. Engaging with your audience is good. Energy and stuff. The one thing I wanna put out here in the end is, for startup, skin into the game, and there's no plan B. So I think this is a huge thing. If you wanna achieve something, you have to put the skin into the game. Don't do it half-heartedly, but do it all the way, all in, full time, everything. No plan B.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. Wow, well said. I cannot put anything afterwards, because putting skin in the game. So not only time-wise, not only like career-wise, not having a safety net, but full on, which is not the advice every parent would give their children, right?
No.
Yeah.
Do you have anything
There's a
to
choice.
mention, to add?
I think we should wrap it up like this.
Okay, perfect.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Christoph.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. We will be online every 2 weeks. Success Lab on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube.
Yeah.
So we will try to bigger our appearance, right?
We grow it and we improve our videos every time. I think we try to with more equipment, with another studio.
No new studio.
Like sponsored by water.
Yeah.
So that's how it's going to be. It's the long run. You're gonna hear from us the next years.
Yeah,
we're not thinking in days.
No, it's a marathon, and we're gonna be here for a while. So stick with us. Give us feedback. Give us a thumbs up, a heart, wherever you follow us. Rate us. I hope we can hear from you and hear you again in 2 weeks.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.